This morning, I want to talk about blaming and finger pointing. A long time ago in my practice, I learned something that has been really helpful for me. Anytime you catch yourself pointing your finger at someone else, there are three fingers pointing back at you. So, whatever you're blaming someone else for or accusing somebody else of, no matter where you are, whether it's your love of your life, or your kids, your boss, somebody in traffic, there's often something that you are doing that's in that. For example, a lot of times in traffic, I will get mad at people for doing something. Like when there's construction and we're merging into two lanes, I often get over really early and sometimes get really mad at the people who go all the way to the cones and then move over. And I've done that at times. So it can be humbling, but also enlivening to acknowledge when you're blaming other people for things that you do yourself. And that happens in relationships too, for me. So I used to think my sister was the one who was the perfectionist and the one who was angry because in her drawings, she would draw something, erase it and redraw it, erase it and redraw it. And I never did anything like that. If you've watched my blog, Am I a Perfectionist? You'll know that I am one. But I've been in denial about it for a long time. And with anger, again, because I hid mine or tried to cover it or I was in denial about it, I didn't think I was the angry one. My sister was much more overt with that. She and my mom would get into yelling matches. And so I thought they were the angry ones and that I wasn't. It's humbling to actually really look at places where you judge other people, where you're pointing the finger, and see that there's an element of that in you. I had a client the other day, and he was really angry at both his mother and his roommate for taking things for granted, for having an attitude of, no one's there for me, I'm unsupported. It makes sense that he was angry because they were taking for granted things like their health and their financial situation. And he's a young man who's had some pretty serious diseases already, and he doesn't take his health for granted. However, he was pointing the finger at them for having these consistently irrational beliefs. And then in the session, we got to see one of his, which is that he gets afraid anytime he gets a pain because he thinks a really serious relapse is happening or another disease might be coming along. So sometimes that finger pointing is subtle. In this situation, it was just a thought pattern. We all have some sort of habitual belief or thought pattern that limits us. And it can be really frustrating to see it in others when they don't see reason. And yet, a lot of us, it's in our subconscious and we're not aware of it and we don't really know what to do with it. Changing our subconscious beliefs is difficult. It takes persistence, effort, awareness, and time. So, whether it's with your significant other, your children, your boss, your best friends, people in traffic, wherever it is, I invite you to look at the places when you find yourself blaming someone, pointing the finger at them, and turn it around. See if you can look at those three fingers that are pointing back here and see what you're doing, where you might be able to increase your awareness about yourself and take some responsibility. Because what I've found when I do that is I get lighter. It takes the weight off, and then I'm not so angry at other people or blaming or self-righteous. And in those moments, I get part of myself back, and I have better relationships with other people as a result.